to.
Oh, look, right here we are.
Look at that.
Look, watch together with friends or with a group. I'm going to hit start.
You hit start, Bradley. I'm going to search on, the desktop. Look, it's letting me start a watch party on the desktop, but it won't let me start a watch party on my
awesome.
phone.
See?
Here, I'm going to type watch with me. Do you think that's a little bit cliche to start a watch party and type watch with me?
Yeah, I think that's a little odd.
Hey, should I add you as a co-host?
Oh, can you?
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
I'm not going to press any buttons.
No, we better not.
No, but hey, welcome everybody. We are glad you are here.
Man.
Oh, see, now I'm in a watch party.
Now, you are?
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
So how are you doing, Brad?
I am doing well.
You are doing well.
I had a good day. You?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
You ran before you got here.
I have. It's been 3 weeks in a row now.
And how long did you run?
Today was just 2 miles. So we did half-mile sprints, but they weren't really sprints. It was just we weren't allowed to walk during the half mile. So we did 4 half-mile intervals.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
It was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
And so
I had chimichanga before we came while you were running. Just saying. Chips, salsa, chimichanga.
Very good. Very good.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. It's been good weather outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But we are looking forward to tonight.
Yes.
And you've got a brain teaser.
I do. As a matter of fact, you are a sports guy.
I love sports.
You love sports. And tonight is the kickoff.
Thursday night football
Thursday night football. So
yes.
I have a sports question for you. It has nothing to do with football.
Okay.
But it does have to do with a sport that is about to get serious.
Pickleball?
I love pickleball.
I know you love pickleball.
It is baseball.
Okay.
Because World Series is coming.
Yeah, I only watch the World Series.
You're not a big baseball fan.
Only the World Series.
You watch NBA but not baseball.
You're right.
You're a sick individual, but that's okay.
You're not wrong.
I would like to know, Mr. Jordan.
Okay.
What is the average lifespan of a Major League Baseball?
Like
the average
physical health or career?
The average lifespan of a Major League Baseball.
Oh.
Not player.
Oh.
Baseball. Baseball.
Oh, wait.
And I would like it. I'm going to give you a little hint.
Okay.
Okay. I would like it measured in pitches.
Pitches.
In pitches.
Okay. I'm glad that you specified this because I was going to say a number that wasn't
basically
right.
Basically, how long do they use a baseball in a Major League Baseball game?
So you're measuring by pitches.
By pitches.
Okay.
How many pitches? The average baseball. And hey, if you're watching, you can give him a hint. Now, I'm gonna allow you to type in
and multiply by the innings
and give him a hint. See, I'll see if anybody on my watch party.
I am going to go with.
Hold on, let's see. No one's helping you out.
Nobody's helping out. No. Nope, not on my watch party either.
No one's helping out.
Everybody's like, you're getting it wrong. Okay, I got an answer.
Okay, let's get
412. 512.
You're a little high.
5 pitches? Trevor's going with 5.
He's very close.
No way.
7.
You're joking.
The average baseball, 7 pitches.
Are you kidding me?
Jordan, would I kid you about something as serious as this? You want to know something?
Yes, you would kid me, and don't call me Shirley.
I really don't like baseball either.
Either do I. So
now we lost all our baseball people.
Yes, but if we're ranking sports,
7?
you got soccer at the bottom, and then baseball goes a close second.
I can't say that because Vicky might be watching.
Oh.
So 7 pitches.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Is that because of 7 pitches?
7 pitches. Hey, welcome to C3 Thursday Live. If you're astounded just as we are about 7 pitches of baseball, write the MLB. I don't know. Anyway, I would like to introduce my little cohort over here, Jordan Chitwood.
Cohort.
Cohort.
What's a hort?
Hort. Cohort.
Hort.
Cohort.
Okay.
What was I saying? Jordan Chitwood, the young adults pastor. My name is Brad Maddox. I am the outreach pastor here.
What do you do here?
I don't really know.
Neither do we.
I really don't do a lot of anything. But anyway, man, we are so glad that you are here. We're excited about this series.
Yeah, we've been really looking forward to it. We are in a 3-week series right now, week number 2 of Sun Stand Still, which is a series where we are just looking at moments in the Bible, specifically the Old Testament, where God performs miracles and makes things such as the sun stand still, which is going to be our miracle story next week. But last week we talked about Elijah, the Jah, and performing a miracle with the Zarephath widow. The Zarephath, or not widow. She was a widow, right? Yeah, the widow of Zarephath.
I haven't been paying attention to what you're saying.
Okay, an old woman that was her husband had passed away. And tonight we're going to be talking about his partner in crime, Elisha, S-H-A, who Elijah had empowered right before he had died. And we're going to be talking about Elisha and the Shunammite woman and the Shunammite boy. And it's a really cool story, one of our favorites. Brad has preached on this a while ago, and so we're just going to dive right in.
Diane Getty said 12. She was pretty close.
12?
That's what she
Man,
said.
Diane, where were you when I needed you?
She was a little late.
She likes baseball, though, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Diane Getty watches baseball. She posts about it often.
Seriously?
Yeah, Diane, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that you are a pretty big baseball fan.
She doesn't seem like a baseball fan. I don't know what
Yeah,
she
I can
seems
imagine her in football pads.
Anyway, we probably ought to go ahead.
Yeah, so let's start. We're reading from 2 Kings tonight. And we are going to be reading 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 11 through 17. And this is what it says. One day Elisha went to the town of Shunem. A wealthy woman lived there, and she urged him to come to her home for a meal. After that, whenever he passed that way, he would stop there for something to eat. She said to her husband, I am sure this man who stops in from time to time is a holy man of God. Let's build a small room for him on the roof and furnish it with a bed, a table, a chair, and a lamp. Then he will have a place to stay whenever he comes by. One day, Elisha returned to Shunem, and he went up to this upper room to rest. He said to his servant Gehazi, Tell the woman from Shunem I want to speak to her. When she appeared, Elisha said to Gehazi, Tell her we appreciate the kind concern you have shown us. What can we do for you? Can we put in a good word for you to the king or the commander of the army? No, she replied. My family takes good care of me. Later, Elisha asked Gehazi, What can we do for her? Gehazi replied, She doesn't have a son, and her husband is an old man. Call her back again, Elijah told him. When the woman returned, Elisha said to her as she stood in the doorway, Next year at this time you will be holding a son in your arms. No, my lord, she cried. O man of God, don't deceive me and get my hopes up like that. But sure enough, the woman soon did become pregnant, and at that time, the following year, she had a son, just as Elisha had said. And that's a lot of reading, so we're going to take a little bit of a break right there. I know, that is a lot of reading. But hey, we're going to take a break there. And so we've got this story, Brad, where Elisha is being treated pretty well by this woman.
Right.
And so much so that as he is traveling, the woman made a permanent residence in her home for him, built him a room, gave him a bed, all of that fun jazz. And he wants to repay kindness with kindness and says, hey, what can be done for you? She doesn't give a response, but then ends up finding out that she wasn't able to have a son. And so he tells this woman, hey, a year from now, you are going to be blessed with a son.
Right.
And she's not too happy. She's a little bit concerned.
You would think she'd be excited.
You would think she'd be jumping for joy.
Because in this culture, she was barren.
Yes.
And in this culture, it was just bad to not be able to have children, to bear children. And so you would think that she would be excited that all of a sudden she's being told by the man of God, as she claims him to be, that she's going to have a child. And so you're expecting, she's going to be thrilled. And she's saying, no, don't tell me this. Don't get my hopes up. And I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Is that
she's gone so long, and she's got to the point of, you know what? This is my lot in life. This is what I am. I'm going to be barren. I've been probably made fun of.
Yeah.
So don't get my hopes up. I don't want something to fall through. She's probably had her hopes up so many times before.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe thinking that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
We talked to somebody today and said, maybe she's miscarried a few times. And so she doesn't want to, as excited as you think that she may be, she doesn't want to lose hope in this miracle that he's offering her.
Yeah, especially because when you're dealing with their culture, a woman's worth was based on her ability to have sons.
Right.
Her ability to have kids was cool, but they specifically needed to be able to have sons.
Right.
And that was to be able to carry on the family name, and the name in their culture meant everything.
Right.
everybody was defined by certain attributes, certain characteristics. That's how you would name your children. And so for some reason, Elisha is saying, hey, I want to bless you with a son.
And that is exactly what he says. I mean, it's not that you're not going to have a child. You are going to have a specific son, an incredible miracle that God is going to pull off.
Yes, and she says, no, like, don't get my hopes up.
The other interesting thing here is the scripture says that she's a wealthy woman.
Yeah.
Okay, so she has all the means, and she doesn't need anything because her family's taking care of her of things. And so she has this type of status, but there's part of it she is missing.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, this is the lot in life that God has given me, and I'm accepting it.
Yeah.
Don't get my hopes up.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned that because, I mean, she's really got everything she could need besides someone to carry on the name.
Yes.
And if she were to have a son, then that son would be well taken care of and would have a name to carry on.
Right.
Like, if she is wealthy, if she's got the riches, if she's got the home, the land, the reputation, she says that she's well loved and treated very kindly, everything would fall into place if she had a son.
And the interesting thing, she basically has it all, even to our standards.
Yeah.
We would say that we have it all, but she's missing this one thing.
Yeah.
That Elisha is promising her, that God is promising her, this miracle that's going to happen.
Yeah. And can you imagine, for you that might be watching tonight or just on video, something that we want to challenge you to process is this idea of what if a prophet of the Lord came up to you and promised you the one thing that you have been maybe praying about, maybe hoping for years. And it can be something as, small as someone has never bought my meal in a Starbucks line ahead of me, and maybe something as large as bring someone back from the dead or be able to not stress about money or have the house, whatever it might be. What would it look like for you to have that one answered prayer request, and how would you respond?
Right.
I think that's
my guess is it wouldn't be like this.
No, I think I'd like to think I'd be jumping for joy, but I think there'd also be that hesitation, like, okay, hold on. And so throughout the story, Elisha makes a promise, and she does end up having the kid.
Yes.
Okay, she ends up having the kid. The kid ends up growing up a little bit, and things start going well. And then all of a sudden, the boy starts feeling sick, starts feeling ill, and dies. And child dies. And so that's where we're going to pick back up the story a little bit later.
2 Kings chapter 4, verses 28 through 35. Then she said, "Did I ask you for a son, my lord? And didn't I say, don't deceive me and get my hopes up?" Then Elisha said to Gehazi, "Get ready to travel. Take my staff and go. Don't talk to anyone along the way. Go quickly and lay the staff on the child's face." But the boy's mother said, "As surely as the Lord lives and you yourself live, I won't go home unless you go with me." So Elisha returned with her. Gehazi hurried on ahead and laid the staff on the child's face, but nothing happened. There was no sign of life. He returned to meet Elisha and told him, "The child is still dead." When Elisha arrived, the child was indeed dead, lying there on the prophet's bed. He went in alone and shut the door behind him and prayed to the Lord. Then he lay down on the child's body, placing his mouth on the child's mouth, his eyes on the child's eyes, and his hands on the child's hands. And as he stretched out on him, the child's body began to grow warm again. Elisha got up, walked back and forth across the room once, and then stretched himself out again on the child. This time, the boy sneezed 7 times and opened his eyes.
Oh, boy.
It's almost hard not to laugh at this story.
You really... I don't know how to respond to
there
that.
There are so many odd things that have happened here.
Yes.
One is I love... let's just go through the passage just a little bit.
Yes, let's walk through a little bit.
Because it's a lot of fun. It really is, when you really think about this. Okay, she's cried out, "Don't deceive me," and she's almost going to Elisha saying, "Did I ask you?"
Yeah.
"Did I ask you?"
Yeah, did I?
Was I the one that said I was going to do, that I needed this?
Yeah.
No, this was your idea.
Yeah.
This wasn't my idea.
Yep.
Sorry, I got a little excited.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah. And then she says, then he goes and he tells Gehazi to go ahead of her, okay, to go ahead and go lay his staff. Her reply is, "As surely as the Lord lives and you yourself live, I won't go home unless you go with me." Dude, you ain't getting out of this.
She does have a lot of sass.
She does. Man, you are coming with me. This is your little Gehazi's not going to handle this. You, my dear boy, are going to handle this.
Yeah.
You're coming along.
This is your problem.
This is your problem, dude. That's all there is to it. I love her.
Yeah,
like,
I love her confidence.
And then it gets weird.
Yes. We got to declare the elephant in the room.
Exactly. It gets really strange.
It does.
When I preached on this, I have a phobia about dead things. Like what we used to raise dogs, and when one of the dogs would die, I wouldn't even touch the dead dog. I would wrap him in blankets or something and not touch him.
Yeah.
You helped me bury a cat once.
I did. We did. That was a good bonding moment.
Yeah. Yes. And I didn't touch the cat then either, did I?
No.
I don't touch dead things.
No, you don't.
And so if I have to go into a child's room and lay on a dead person and put my eyes to his and my lips to his, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, Brad, if that was you,
Not going to happen.
0% chance.
0% chance. I mean, it's just weird.
It is weird.
It's just weird. But he does it anyway, does all the things, and the child actually lives. But the real question, now that we got all that out of the way, is why? Why would God do this miracle, give this promise to this lady, something she desperately wanted, and then all of a sudden the child dies?
Yeah.
Why does that happen?
Yeah, this is, I think, too common of a story for a lot of people, minus the
weirdness,
awkwardness.
Yeah.
Okay, too common of a story where we do see an unexpected blessing or a prayer request come through, and then some form of suffering takes place.
Right.
And often our response to that suffering is, God, why would you do this?
Right.
Like, how could you take this from me? Why are you at fault? Like, I've got to find someone to blame, and it's got to be the almighty, all-powerful God. And as I've dealt with my own suffering and as I've processed suffering, there's usually three responses that individuals, have in regards to suffering. First is, God, why didn't you prevent this?
Right.
We believe in a God that could have prevented this from happening.
And that's true.
True. Yeah, that happens
no
sometimes.
question.
Yeah. Then we say, God, why did you cause this to happen? Sometimes we believe in a God that could have prevented. Other times we believe in a God that caused our suffering. So with different people that, so for example, my dad died. A lot of people ask me, why do you think God took your dad at such a young age? And I hate that wording because I'm like, I don't think that God took my dad. I just think my dad died and God played a huge role in the third response, which is actually responding to that.
Right.
And so I think that's the third area that I want us to focus on tonight is, could God have prevented this child from dying? Absolutely.
Certainly.
Could God have possibly been the cause for this so a miracle could have taken place and his glory could have shown? Sure. But neither of those provide peace or confidence in who we believe God to be. The third response always does, though. When we look at a God who always responds to our suffering and responds to our pain, and we consider God as our first responder, dealing with trials and tribulations becomes so much easier and so much more powerful. When we start looking at all the ways that God came through, like in this story, you and I were talking in this office, okay? Talking in the office before this, you got to imagine, like, this woman, she didn't fret. Like, she didn't hesitate.
Did not.
To go and get the man of God.
Yeah, she actually, if you read the story before this, she actually doesn't go into any preparation, mourning. I'm sure there's some grief and sadness there.
Yes.
But she says, leave the boy here. I'm going to go get the man of God.
Yes. I have no
response.
time to waste.
Nope.
Because
Gotta go.
I know that my God, regardless of what just happened, I know that my God is going to respond.
Right.
And in their culture, you had mentioned it, and I think it's a great point to raise, in their culture, their only connection with God was either through a prophet or at the temple.
Right.
So like they weren't, quote unquote, worthy to be able to talk to God.
Right.
And so that's why she's like, hold on, hold the phone. I know the story is not done.
Right.
And even if God doesn't resurrect my son, I believe that God is going to come through in some way. So let me go get the man of God to help figure this out. Because this is not a period, it's a comma.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love it.
That's good stuff.
And so that's just one way to think about it with your pain, with your suffering. You can ask so many what-if questions. But the only thing that has brought me peace is considering God as the first responder.
Right. And I think sometimes, too, is we only look at it through the lens of this is how I want this to end.
Yeah.
This is how I want God to respond. And if he responds in any other way, then I'm not satisfied, and then God is to blame.
Yeah.
And I think I watch so many people who go through tough things that there's only one way to that they're going to be relieved from their suffering, from their pain or something, is the way they want it answered. And that doesn't happen all the time.
Oh, often according to our plan, rarely happens the way we see it.
Rarely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not until way down the road. And is there grief? Is there sorrow? Absolutely. But down the road, you start seeing God's hand in different ways that wouldn't have shown up in any other way.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not that much comfort, honestly.
Also true.
But, I think of the story of John the Baptist, being in jail. And here's Jesus saying that, basically there's no greater man than John the Baptist. And he leaves him in jail to be beheaded.
Yep.
And does not do what we expect Jesus to do, is to go rescue him.
Yeah.
And we are not always rescued. You know, Jesus, how many times has said, you are going to have troubles in this world.
Yeah. And John kind of confronts Jesus about it. In a little way, he says, hey, was I wrong to believe that you were the Son of God?
He goes through the same experience that we would.
Exactly.
That we start doubting, okay, where is God in this? Well, if this is really Jesus, if this is really the Messiah, and I was here doing my thing, doing exactly what God wants me to do, living in a specific way, calling out in the wilderness, why is he not rescuing me?
Exactly. He's clearly being the hands and feet of Jesus.
Right.
And someone at that level still ended up being beheaded.
Yeah. And so here we are in our, again, sufferings, our troubles, our things that we are going through. And sometimes we get so mentally focused on just our issue that we don't see the broader picture. And it's totally understandable.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can take a break. One of the steps we can take is taking just a step back and saying, okay, God, do I like this? No. Do I like what I'm going through? No. Would I hope it goes a different way than what I see you doing right now? Yes. But if this is your will in this situation, then I trust you enough to know that you know what's best.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough place to get to.
Yeah, you ready for a cringe-worthy statement?
Let's hear it.
God's end game, okay, is not for me, talking about me, to live a happy life.
Absolutely.
And we have to see God as the bigger picture, looking at thousands, however many years this earth is going to be in existence, as he's painting a picture.
Right.
And we are just one simple stroke of a paintbrush.
Right.
And that does not count out our suffering, okay? Because God desperately, it says in Psalms, I think Psalms 34, that God is close to the brokenhearted and saves a crushed in spirit. God is with us in our brokenness. But if we can get to a place of trusting that God is going to use our paintbrush stroke for his glory, for his end game, and our suffering is worth it in that way, Romans 8:18, that the suffering that we go through is in no compare to the glory that we will receive, then we can see God in such an amazing light.
Right.
And it takes just the stress off of our shoulders.
And that's when your faith stops being about you.
Exactly.
And it starts being about who God is and the story that he is writing, that you are part of his story.
Yep.
He's not part of your story.
Exactly.
I don't know if I said that quite right, but you understand what I'm saying?
You understand the point. Yes. The heart is that God is using us as his tools.
Right.
Okay. We don't get to just pull out a hammer and it's like, oh, we're going to use God today for this. That's what God shies away from. God says he wants to be all of our life.
Right.
And so God is saying, hey, Brad, today I need you to do this. Or Johnny or Deborah. This is you. You are in my army.
Right.
Okay. I am not just a soldier in yours. I am your army. I want to be so much more than that.
Right. Cool stuff.
And so this is, sun stands still. What's cool is, as we wrap up today a little bit early, 2 sun stand still moments in this story. Because I think we do miss out on the first one because of what happens. The first one is she was blessed with a child.
Right.
She was. And from every parent that I've known that has lost a child, every single one of them would say that even though they ended up losing their child, having that child for X amount of days even sometimes was worth it.
Yes.
And so God, sun stand still moment, performed a miracle. And then the second one resurrected the child back.
Right.
And it's just so cool when we look at the God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament and see how they're connected, same God living under 2 different covenants, how many miracles there are in sun stand still moments.
Right.
And you might be wondering, Jordan, Brad, you've been hinting at a lot of this sun stand still story. Well, hey, next week, For week number 3, wrapping up our Sun Stand Still series, we're going to be looking at a guy named Joshua.
Yeah.
One of my favorite characters to study in the Bible. He inherited the Israelites after Moses died. And Joshua has an experience with the army, just a sun stand still moment that we're going to cover next week to wrap up this series of a God that performs miracles.
Gonna be cool.
So join us next Thursday at 8 o'clock.
You
want me to give the teaser?
About this Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so this Sunday I'm talking about sex.
Oh, yeah.
There's no better way to say it. But I am looking forward to it because our culture really does idolize sex.
Right.
And sexual impurities, really.
Right.
So join us this Sunday at 9 or 10:30. And if you can't make it to the service, you can live stream it on Facebook or YouTube for a second service at 10:30. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week. Have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, everybody.
Adios. Good stuff.